welcome to the Daily Poem here in the Close Reads Podcast Network. I'm David Kern. Today I'm going to read you two winter-themed poems from William Carlos Williams. First, though, I want to offer up a quick reminder about our poetry competition. I've mentioned it a few times. Don't forget that if you are a student or you have a student, we are doing a competition where young people can memorize at least 8 lines of J.R.R. Tolkien's poetry and post them on social media with the hashtag Daily Poem. Now, I've been told by a few people that hashtag is pretty crowded, makes it hard to find other contestants. So I would like it if you go ahead and use that hashtag, but then you can tag us as well. So if you want to tag us at Close Reads Pods on Instagram or tag us on Facebook at Cersei Institute, then we'll be able to find you there as well. So again, hashtag Daily Poem or at Close Reads Pods on Instagram or at Cersei Institute on Facebook. William Carlos Williams was a Puerto Rican-American poet, lived from 1883 to 1963. And you might also remember that he was a physician. He worked in pediatrics and general medicine and worked for years at a hospital in New Jersey, in his hometown. The two poems that I'm going to read today are called Winter Trees and Winter. And I'll go ahead and read those and then offer a few thoughts. So up first is Winter. Now the snow lies on the ground, and more snow is descending upon it. Patches of red dirt hold together the old snow patches. This is winter. Rosettes of leather green leaves by the old fence and bare trees marking the sky. This is winter, 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 leather green leaves spear-shaped in the falling snow. And the second poem is called Winter Trees. It goes like this. All the complicated details of the attiring and disattiring are completed. A liquid moon moves gently among the long branches. Thus having prepared their buds against a sure winter, the wise trees stand sleeping in the cold. Apparently, William Carlos Williams' mother was a well-trained poet. She even studied in Paris. And she passed on her enthusiasm, her preference for painting to her son. And William Carlos Williams painted for many of his early years. He even wrote introductions to various exhibitions that his friends put on of their own work, and he wrote art criticism as well. So he was a real painting enthusiast. And I think that what we see in a lot of his work is the same sorts of things that we might see if he had been a painter instead of a poet. I think sometimes the way the imagination works for a poet and the way it works for a painter are very similar. I'm not saying that William Carlos Williams was a great painter and that all painters would make great poets or vice versa. But I think that there are similar ways that painters and poets think about the world and see the world. And I think these two poems exhibit that in William Carlos Williams' work. For example, I think that William Carlos Williams does a great job setting a scene, not just in that he describes stuff, but that he creates contrasts for us. For example, you have this idea of the old fence and the bare trees marking the sky. Green leaves by the old fence and the bare trees marking the sky. So these things that are on the earth are creating this distinction between the earth and the sky. He's creating perspective. Think about the idea of a liquid moon in the winter trees. The liquid moon moves gently among the branches. You could see a painter playing with light in the way that he is playing with light in the poem. He's so specific in the imagery that he's using because he sees things so specifically. So he's thinking in terms of how would a painter approach this. So he doesn't feel the need to be complicated, to try to trick us. I mean, he has some things that seem obscure on the surface, but like The Red Wheelbarrow, for example, is a very specific sort of poem. So for as complicated as some people say William Carlos Williams is, and as he actually was, he also is very interested in very specific images, and in presenting those, there's a simplicity often to his language, even though he builds images that seem to suggest new images that are quite complicated, that are confusing. But he's interested in giving us a language here in America and using our language here in America to let us see and think about our world anew. And I think that a big part of what he's able to do there is, comes from his interest in painting. His practice painting seems to have helped develop an eye that he was able to combine with his ear that allowed him to present American life in an American idiom. So, with that in mind, here are the two poems one more time. Here's Winter. Now the snow lies on the ground, and more snow is descending upon it. Patches of red dirt hold together the old snow patches. This is winter. Rosettes of leather green leaves by the old fence and bare trees marking the sky. This is winter, 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 leather green leaves, spear-shaped in the falling snow. And here's winter trees. All the complicated details of the attiring and disattiring are completed. A liquid moon moves gently among the long branches. Thus, having prepared their buds against a sure winter, the wise trees stand sleeping in the cold. This has been the Daily Poem. Thanks for listening. Be back tomorrow with another one.